It's a big pleasure and honor for me to start this presentation of the SABRe Multi Sensor. Welcome everybody here in Zurich, and also welcome everybody in the whole world who is just watching us live for this show. I will thank you everybody who helped us until now already, that we are here to present this instrument and to make music with this new technology, not to mention people personally, but especially thanks also to the university where we are now, the University of the Arts in Zurich. I think an event like that, we should start with music, so I think I just will play the sensor-augmented bass clarinet. The work of SABRe started 15 years ago. The beginning was a concert I heard with Bruno Spörri and his synthphone. Later on, I have a short talk with him. He's present here. Probably first, I have shortly to explain why did I wanted to start this project. It was my aim to have a direct control of electronics with my instrument as I control the sound I produce normally. That the electronic is not something behind me or around me. No, it's also me, like the sound when I play the clarinet. So this was the main point at the beginning was an artistic wish I had it, and we wanted to fulfill. And fortunately, in 2008, I had to wait 8 years. We could start with the research project at the Institute for Computer Music and Sound Technology, and you see, after 7 years, we have a real sounding instrument. So, what we do now, you see just here behind me. This is the SABRe Multi Sensor. A sensor is for use for all clarinets and saxophones. So, I think as a next, we would like to listen a little bit to saxophone. And it's a pleasure for me that Lars Mlekush, our professor for saxophone, is coming and to play for us. Thank you, Lars. You would like to hide your thing here. What are you hiding? No, I think when I listen to you, I think we have the same motivation. We are looking for new sounds, but you will do it just in another way. We call it sensor augmented bass clarinet because we augmented our instrument with sensors, and you augment or extend your instrument with something more mechanical.
Yeah, so this is a spring drum extended saxophone, which actually happened just as so often, just by chance or coincidence. It's kind of a funny story, I think, but I had this thing, not exactly this thing, but a bigger one at home for many years, and I didn't really know what to do with it until I put it into a saxophone. Just like, oh, this fits. It was a bigger one, so it fit into the tenor saxophone. And I started playing with it, and I was like, wow, that's really giving me some new, as you say, sounds also, and ways of playing, using somehow, getting somehow electronic sound out of it without actually using electronics. The next step, of course, was to combine it with electronics. So it offers a lot of possibilities when also used with a DPA microphone inside the tube, where you can actually work on feedbacks also, which is, some of you may have heard that already. So unfortunately today I couldn't do it, but it was just a pure acoustic version.
That's what I wanted to hear, of course, that you wanted to start with electronic. What interests me, I mean, you are an acoustic player, as I am too, and we love our instruments, and now we have electronics. Do you see that these two fields, acoustic music and electronic music, are totally different? Or how is the connection between these two fields?
Well, I think they're getting closer and closer, and this device, as I said, is creating somehow sounds that we associate with electronic sounds. So I think this to think of two different instruments or ways of playing is not really, doesn't make sense anymore so much. So that's also why I'm interested, of course, in your new device to have a lot of control and flexibility also as a performer, and not be dependent totally on another person actually controlling the system.
Okay, thank you very much. You are now a living pioneer of saxophone playing, and now it's a pleasure for me to introduce you Bruno Spörri. I think he was like, since the electronic music come here in the light that everybody can see you. We are very proud in Switzerland of Bruno Spörri. He's one of our pioneers of electronic music. And yeah, he wrote also a very nice book, but I think it's only in German, huh? Aus dem Nichts, where you can read the whole story of electronic music in Switzerland, but that's a little bit the same like in the whole world. Now, I saw you playing the synthesiphone 15 years ago. Can you tell us a little bit about the story of this instrument and why you started to play this instrument?
Well, that's a long story. We don't have to tell the whole thing. Of course, influencing, doing electronic music with gestures. That's as old as the electronic music is. That started with a theremin. But of course, there were many problems with it until MIDI came. MIDI, well, no, there was something before. There was the first electronic wind instrument made in America, the Lyricon, in '75. That was a fantastic analog instrument, an analog synthesizer, and a great, really great invention musically too. And I think the Lyricon was gave the idea to the synthesiphone. Martin Horny heard it, there was electronica, and that gave him the idea as soon as MIDI came to make a MIDI saxophone with some of the ideas of the Lyricon. But in the same time, of course, there were other things. There were, for instance, Stein in Amsterdam, who developed Michel Weisfist, the hands. They had the sensor lab. So the idea of this was around for a long time. But the real problem with all these things is you must combine it. You must be able to have a really playable instrument. And I think most of these things that were developed around, for instance, the EVI, and all these things were developed by technicians. And I think the great thing about the Lyricon, about the Syntophon, and I think too of the SABRe is that it is developed by musicians. And that's a big difference. You don't have to have all the possibilities, but you have the possibilities that are, that let you make music, really.
I think it's really true. What is so important is this network you need. I mean, only musicians, nothing happens to, because I can neither program, I can hardly program, nor I can construct a hardware.
The musicians have to tell them what to do.
Exactly. I think we have to be the masters at the end, because we are staying on stage and we say where to go. But it's a really good collaboration. Can you just tell a little bit, were you then also collaborating with Martin Hurni from Bern, who built the Syntophon? If you like some more information about Syntophon, just go on the net. You can still buy this instrument. Yeah. Did you work with him together? Did you have some interaction with him?
Not much, no. He really developed the instrument. I gave him a little bit of input. I wanted some additional fingerings. I wanted some additional possibilities, and he did that very quickly. One thing that he never did, I wanted from him a gesture sensor, as you have in the SABRe, and we spoke about it, but he never made it. So I'm very happy that you did it now.
Okay, and to end it, this nice talk with you, Bruno, you remember the piece you wrote me for bass clarinet, Brouillard débrouillé?
Yeah.
Can you just tell your idea of this piece?
Yes, that was a very old idea. I wanted to, to force you really to improvise. So I wrote a Max computer program that changed the sound of the clarinet, but you didn't know how it did it, So it was not, you couldn't foresee what it did. So that's the reason that I called it brouillard. The idea was you're in the brouillard, you don't know where you are, and then you begin to find your way. So you have to débrouiller. You have to find out what does the thing do.
It was really a wonderful
It was a real challenge for you.
Yeah, I had to play with the computer, but the computer is not a musician, and he just did something I didn't know. And so I have a new wish. Would you please compose me now a piece for SABRe, and the title should be In the Sunshine and not in the fog anymore. Thank you very much.
Well, I tried to.
At this moment, I want to mention two persons who are very important in the development for our instrument. This is Sebastian Schisser. He did the main work in the ICST, and Martin Suter, the bass clarinet or instrument maker, who helped to develop. They are here in the hall, and please a big applause for them. So, let's go to another pioneer, to my colleague here at the school. He's Professor Matthias Ziegler. Professor Matthias Ziegler. Please come on stage. You can prepare your nice machine. One thing I remember, when we were here, it was probably 12 or 13 years ago, you did a concert with others together to show live electronics, and this was also not inspiring directly what to do, but I thought, oh, I want to do the same as he is doing, and let's just have a little listen to his nice work. Thank you, Matthias. As we know, Matthias is the real name for electronic music.
Obviously.
Matthias Ziegler. What is so fascinating in your work is that you're doing both. You use electronics, but you invent also new instruments. Just a little bit like
Yes, this is the instrument here is a bass flute, and it's a prototype of a bass flute. And it has been a collaboration with Eva Kingma from Holland, my flute maker from Holland. And so we are developing this instrument every year, usually in January, for 2 weeks, and so it goes step by step. And right now we are using bicycle brakes the wires of bicycle brakes to trigger the low keys. So that's getting really interesting. And
will you then make a lot of sports with that? Or?
Yeah, it's basically that's my main sport, I'm doing. And what I did with this instrument, and that actually went back to a concert when I heard a didgeridoo player who put a microphone inside his didgeridoo. And I remember the same night, I was still studying the flute at that time, the same night I went home, put a microphone inside my instrument and went through my home stereo and did a lot of noise at 2 o'clock in the morning. And so the whole thing developed. I'm now traveling with some electronic equipment, but it just helps to actually amplify parts of the flute that I've been able to hear always when I was practicing the flute. I've been able to hear when I was listening to other flute players, but just from very close. So it's like going to the microphone, looking at the instrument through a magnifying glass. And I'm blowing up those sounds, and then of course, what you actually want, that's only the first step, you want to play music at the end. So I started doing archives, doing lexicons of sounds, and put together my own music.
Wonderful. The thing where we are coming now also is to talk a little bit about composers. I mean, composers are also important for the whole step. Can you tell, you worked so much together with composers, your experiences also with this instrument? Or?
Well, there's always, that was the thing I was aiming at, to get enough information to a composer to have him compose a piece.
And so I recorded all the single sounds I had, made a whole lexicon. Very important was how long am I able to produce a sound, because usually composers, they take some effect, you play them and they say, now go for 10 minutes with this sound, and of course it's impossible. So, or they have stuff like key clicks on a flute. It's a very delicate thing. So I always tell my students, if you find a composer who writes you a key click on a C sharp, he doesn't know the instrument.
Thank you, Matthias. We will hear you later when we play together. That's wonderful. Only to say one story which is very interesting in clarinet history, because why Johann Sebastian Bach didn't write a piece for clarinet? The clarinet existed. It's just he didn't know about it. And there needed the coincidence that 3 persons came together in Vienna: Stadler, a wonderful player of the clarinet, an instrument maker, and a composer called Mozart. And they 3 together, of course, in this time, in the Nation, they had to be 3 persons, and these 3 created, and it was like the birth of the clarinet. So we need always this collaboration. With SABRe, we started to work together with composers from the first moment. Katharina Rosenberger, Swiss composer, professor in San Diego, she composed the first piece before the instrument existed. And then, of course, we had to work on that too. The second composer was Hans Tutschko, a German composer, actually professor at the Harvard University for composition. And David Jude of my team, of the SABRe team, will play the beginning of his piece, Interlaced 1. Thank you very much, David. I think the special situation here in Zurich, why we could start is there are several special situations, I think. One main thing is the Institute for Computer Music and Sound Technology, that our Institute for Computer Music is included in the art music and in the music department, that is not just in a technical university or an independent department. The technicians are always around the music. So it's a pleasure for me to welcome Herman Toro Perez, our director of the ICST. And there was really this I remember you came new to our school and I went to listen your presentation concert, which I really liked, and then we just talked, and this was one of these most important moments where you said, oh yes, let's start this project. But first, can you tell the main topics and intentions of your institute?
As Bruno was saying before, the main thing for being able to get in contact with artistic practice using technology is having the understanding that musicians need, the understanding what composers do, understanding what performers do, what they need. So the Institute exactly has this aim to bring together this knowledge out of musical practice and to reflect about the possibilities of technology in order to generate new visions, new possibilities of performing, of composing, of generating different works of art related to sound and technology.
One thing, you are also a composer. That's great that a director of an institute is an artist and is not just an administrator. I think this is a very important thing. Now, what you said you wanted to do that, probably you had also some ideas as a composer. What potential do you see in this instrument of the artistic view as a composer?
Well, from the point of view of the composer, is thoroughly knowledge of the instrument a very important aspect. Second, a close knowledge about the way the performer is working and working with it. So we have also the difficulty of putting those worlds together, the questions that you have to resolve at the level of technique, and bringing this together to the real needs you have on the stage. So the major challenges you have as a composer working with technology is bringing those two elements together. And what the project, in respect to the project, the main, let's say, possibility to be able to realize it was to have a team that brings together those experiences. At the time you came with the idea of SABRe, we had Sebastian Schieser, who joined ICST, and Sebastian is a saxophonist, but also engineer. So we don't have this separation between technique and musicianship. We have them in one person together. And I think that is the main strength of ICST.
Thank you very much, Herman. Talking about composers here in Switzerland for electronic music, we have one other person who was very, very important, and he's also here, Thomas Kessler. And I'm really pleased that he came to Zurich, because Thomas, he was leading for years the Institute for Electronic Music in Basel, which was for a long time the most important one. And I remember for my final diploma in Basel, I played Steve Reich, New Counterpoint. That was this time the only piece you could really do. And you cleaned me the recording. I don't know if you remember. You came in the hall and said, oh, this is not beautiful enough, and you started to do that. And I'm very happy that he will soon write a piece for SABRe. So next time we can play his piece. So now let's go to the next point. Yes, I want to show a little bit possibilities of the SABRe. Yeah, you do it all this. So I will just show you at the beginning, you just heard music, and that I can just present or explain certain things. Of course, I don't want to explain everything. Because I think one thing which got a little bit lost in our art is that, or in our time, is that of course everything is possible. We have no wonder anymore. Everything is obvious. And so it's wonderful if we can do something and you cannot just explain it. That was the same thing when Paganini played his thing. The first thing was he told everybody, I never practice. Of course, that was not true, but that was a big show, of course. He practiced a lot, I'm totally sure. Probably not at the end of his life. Now, what we have here, we have put certain sensors. I will not tell the details, the technical details, just watch on our websites. You will see it in the film, the addresses. So we have a sensor, for instance, for the movement of the instrument, and you can just see how I can use that. You see how the instrument does the same movements as I do. That's not for free. We have a movement sensor in the instrument, and Felix Behringer of our team did this programmation that you can see at the same time in the video, what I'm doing with the instrument. Of course, this is only to show something. This is not art, but you can imagine what we can do between coordination and correlation of music and video. The next thing is we have a sensor for the air pressure. You see the air pressure. Now just look what I do when I play. It is an air pressure. This is an air pressure sensor in my mouth. How this works, I will not tell now. I have not something in my teeth. No. But you can do that. And the special thing now with this instrument is we can still play normally. We have a wind sensor for the pressure in my mouth, but still I can play normally. This is, I think, it was the main thing that we solved with this research and development. So we started now. This is just something to show. Now, let's go a little bit in direction of art between music and video. And Felix Behringer, who will play afterwards too, did a nice thing. Where is the strap? Yeah, that's wonderful. In my work as a professor, I can work together with very nice young people with a lot of energy and much more knowledge in certain things than me. And of course, I get to know them extremely good. And so you saw already David Yu, then Isa Angst, who is not here. He's the programmer of the whole software for it. And Felix Beringer, he's programmer as well, and also doing artistic work, and also a little bit as a manager for SABRe. And he will just play us now a piece. It's not used SABRe technique, but you see a very nice interaction, artistic interaction between music and video. He shows that in a piece of the famous composer from Slovenia, Globokar, and he used also a lot of new sounds, and he has here a piece without mouthpiece and reed. Bravo, Felix, wonderful. And I'm already very curious what you will start soon to do with video and SABRe, which will be in the next months. Now let's come to talk a little bit of something else. Let's talk about business. That's the most important thing in music and arts. Without business, we have no art. That's like that. If we have no businesses who produces instruments and earn money with selling instruments, we cannot play instruments. So, it was always the aim for me to not to just produce or develop an instrument for myself, it's to do something that others can use. Other clarinet players. Now you see already other saxophone players, and hopefully soon also other flutists, trumpet players, and so on. Now we have a wonderful institution in Switzerland. It's just in the economic department of Swiss government in Bern. It's called the Commission for Technology and Innovation, and I'm very glad that Vital Meyer is here from Bern. And I just first would like to ask you, what is the main aim of this institution, this CTI?
Okay, first of all, thank you very much for the invitation. I mean, it's really, for me, fantastic, and I think I never saw this before, and it is really very nice what you do here, in my eyes. Okay, my institution, the Commission for Technology and Innovation, we help to foster innovation in Switzerland. We have a certain amount of money, tax money, which we distribute for innovation projects, mostly for projects in Switzerland. Switzerland has quite a special policy of fostering innovation. We don't, for example, give direct money to companies. We are looking for a collaboration between a company or a startup company, whatever, and an institute from a university, from a ETH. And what we do, we help with quite a bit, little money, typically, and to foster this collaboration. And this is one example, I think, where we could help a little bit.
Yes, you help, not a little bit. You make it possible. Because without this little money, we can not start. And sometimes this little money helps them to raise more money. Yes, and now the question is, why does CTI support the music business? Or do you see as any special potential in this?
Okay, first let me give some more details about my organization, because we don't only provide a little bit of money. We have also a kind of a startup support where we have like a network of coaches, and we try to find the best people in Switzerland to help young startup companies to make the first steps out of the university and into the market. And I think we have also two of the coaches here today. I think Jean-Jacques Beccolini and Charles Doris are here. Jean-Jacques is our specialist for instruments. I think he did already 3 projects around instruments, and I think that is a fantastic niche. And now you ask me about music and music instruments. Of course, typically we have projects from the pharma or from medtech or from ICT, but in Switzerland we don't have predefined areas where we support. We have quite a strong bottom-up philosophy. When good ideas emerge, we try to support them, and I think here we see something very interesting and surprising. It's not only one instrument, we have even seen more instruments, and we will see even other instruments, I think, and we try to support these ideas.
Thank you very much, Vital, for being here, and I think we just go on with some other instruments to show, and I think what is really so great with the work with also these commissions is that a project like that lasts a long time. You cannot do this in 2 years. It needs a lot of patience also to get to the end, and I think you are also looking for sustainability, that the project who starts in university then come to something, and I know we are not at the end, not at all, we are always at the beginning. We are at the beginning now with our startup. We do an IndieGogo campaign, so go on the website if you like, you can already buy this instrument. You can also buy the first CD and DVD which come out if you don't play the clarinet and saxophone. And with this, you help to build up this new industry for music technology in Switzerland. Thank you very much, Vital Meyer. And so, yes. We just give a proof that we are interested that others play also, and I think music is not to play alone or only to play with electronics. Playing together, that's the greatest thing. So I'm really curious what my good friends Matthias Ziegler and Lars Mlekosch play now together. Thank you very much, Lars and Matthias, and you can just stay on stage because we just soon go on playing then in a bigger group together. As I said, yeah, we had this project, and we have in Switzerland also other music projects. So, and I'm very happy to present at this occasion another musical project together with saxophone and also together with trumpet. Yeah, this is Andy Keller, founder of Da Carbo. You build trumpets, trombones, and saxophone necks using carbon fiber composites. Is there a common concept besides the use of the same material?
Yeah, of course there is. So the idea behind is with this material we are able to design the acoustical behavior of the instrument's wall much more precise than you can do with the traditional materials. We use it to get rid or to suppress vibrations which do not support the sound. This means that the player doesn't need the energy to produce these vibrations. The energy stays inside the tube where it has to be, where the sound is generated. So this leads to a more relaxed way of playing and a more direct feel of the instrument. So we say it's more effortless to play the instrument, it's easier playing. And you've got more possibilities to form your sound. In the end, you've got the energy left for your music.
Wonderful. As I know, I think you're an engineer. You were an engineer and yeah, passionate also trumpet player, I think,
Yes,
music
right.
lover. But you saw, I think, in your work now also how important it is to work together with musicians. How are the reactions in the whole world on your work?
Yes, of course, we developed these instruments not just from a technical point of view. As you stated before, we worked closely together with many musicians to also see a broad range of the wishes of the musicians, starting with the trumpet, going to the trombone, and since this year also with a saxophone next. And there are two fractions of musicians, the ones which are, let's say, conservative. So they have a sound in mind and they have instruments in mind as it was played already 150 years ago. And these instruments are still manufactured, and there is a fraction looking for that segment. But there is, of course, also, otherwise we wouldn't exist, there is also a segment of musicians looking for the ease of playing, looking for new possibilities for their sound, and that's the part of market we are trying, or we are already in. And the whole musical instruments market is huge enough so that everybody has a piece of cake.
Wonderful. And I'm already curious. So, hey, start now and order our SABRe Multi Sensor, because I'm sure in 100 years it will be very precious. Then we have already the conservative people who want to play this old first version of our sensor. So, Andy, thank you very much for coming here. And of course, we listen now to your trumpet.
Yeah, thank you very much.
And I'm happy that Daniel Woodley is here, a wonderful jazz trumpet player. And I suggest just we play all together. Yes. That's great. And let's do some music. And I think this is, as you know, in Switzerland, we are very famous for very precisely watches. So we will stop immediately at 3:30. But first, we listen to music, and afterwards, we have wine and talks, informal talks. And if you are somewhere in the world, open just a bottle of wine and do the same as we do. If it's in the morning, you can also drink a good coffee, of course. I suggest to drink an Italian coffee. So, but first we do just some Swiss electronic music with Daniel Woodley, Matthias Ziegler, and Lars Mlekusch, and I say goodbye. My name is Matthias Müller. Thank you for listening, being here. Also, das Buffet ist eröffnet.